Frank, you wouldn't believe what I just saw on the Miller's driveway. It is, literally another brand new massive SUV.
Let me guess, the one with the three-row seating they definitely don't need for their one golden retriever.
Exactly. But the weird thing is, I just ran into Sarah at the grocery store, and she looked totally stressed, like legit panicking about, paying for their kids' summer camp. It's wild, right? They look like they're winning, but
they're actually, they're drowning, Lynn. And look, it's not just them. Most people in North America are, they're trapped in this cycle. They're told they need, what, $2 million, $5 million to ever dream of quitting their job?
Right. I mean, that's what every financial advisor on TikTok says. Save $5 million or work till you're 80. It's terrifying.
But here's the thing. What if I told you and everyone listening that the magic number isn't 2 million? What if it's, just $500,000, 500,000?
Wait, 500K? Frank, that sounds like a mistake. I mean, in this economy, people are going to think we're totally delusional.
I know. It sounds like a dream, right? But it's actually it's simple math that most people choose to ignore because they're too busy chasing the next SUV.
Well, before we prove everyone wrong, hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Frank. Welcome to Talk and Wonder. We create easy-to-understand whiteboard animations covering family finance, investing, passive income, and debt management.
Exactly. Our goal is to break down these complex financial topics, help your family avoid the traps, and, build wealth together. So if you want to secure your future, you are exactly in the right place.
So, back to that 500K. The reason it sounds impossible to most families is because they get wealth completely backwards. They think wealth is about accumulating stuff. The luxury cars, the designer clothes, massive houses.
Yeah, like the Millers. When I picture true financial freedom for a family, it's, waking up without an alarm clock. It's, not fighting over credit card bills at the kitchen table every month.
Exactly. Real wealth isn't about stuff. It's about accumulating choices. And buying back your choices, it doesn't require nearly as much money as the Wall Street guys want you to believe. The secret is, it almost sounds too simple.
Okay, lay it on me.
If you can generate enough passive income just to cover your basic living expenses, you literally never have to work for money again. It's not about having millions just sitting dead in a bank account. It's about having your money work for you so your family doesn't have to break apart working for it. So let's just break down the actual math here, because this is where it gets honestly pretty wild. Take that $500,000 and instead of buying, a giant house or a boat, you put it into conservative fixed income investments.
Like what exactly? Bonds and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Bonds, high-yield savings accounts, the boring stuff, basically. Low-risk options that just quietly sit there and generate returns. With these, you can reasonably expect maybe about a 5% annual return.
5%? I mean, Frank, that doesn't sound very sexy. It sounds like barely beating inflation.
Right. It doesn't sound exciting until you see what it actually means for a family. 5% of $500,000, that equals $25,000 a year.
$25,000, so that's what?
That's over $2,000 every single month, generated literally without you lifting a finger. You're not touching the 500K. You're just skimming the interest off the top.
Wait, so our money is out there working a full-time job for us?
Exactly. It's working harder than most people do at their actual jobs. Now, $25,000 a year isn't a fortune, especially if you're like a family of 4 used to making a lot more.
But Frank, think about what that $2,000 a month means. That covers the mortgage in a lot of places, or like the groceries and the utilities. It means if one of us, God forbid, loses our job, we aren't terrified. We aren't having those awful, whispered arguments at 2 a.m.
Exactly, honey. You're no longer trading your time just to survive. But wait, because it gets way better. What if we accept just a tiny bit more risk?
Okay, CFO Frank, define a tiny bit.
Chuckles. I'm talking about investing part of that 500K into the stock market. Low-cost index funds, a diversified portfolio. Historically, a balanced mix of stocks and bonds, it can reasonably generate, say, 8 to 9% annually over the long term.
Okay, so let's use, 8.5%? Just to be safe?
Perfect. 8.5% of $500,000. That jumps to $42,500 per year.
42. Wait, Frank, that's over $3,500 a month in purely passive income.
Yes, suddenly we aren't just covering the basics anymore. That's taking the kids on vacation without putting it on a credit card. It's pursuing hobbies, all while the core 500K, the nest egg, just continues to grow.
So it's like planting an apple orchard. The 500K is the trees. Most people, they get hungry and they chop down the trees for firewood. But this strategy, we're just picking the apples.
Yes, that is exactly it. That's the difference between, thinking like a consumer and thinking like an investor. Consumers buy things and the money vanishes. Investors, they buy the orchard.
And the orchard just keeps producing.
Exactly. When you have $500,000 generating that kind of return, you aren't just financially independent, you are financially immortal. The money outlives you, it goes to your kids.
Financially immortal. I like the sound of that a lot better than, working till I drop.
But here is the part that most financial advisors won't ever tell you. Because, they can't sell you an expensive product based on this. The biggest obstacle to achieving this 500K freedom isn't earning more money.
Oh boy, let me guess. The dreaded B word. Budgeting?
Kind of. It's spending less money. I mean, think about it. A family who can live happily on $3,000 a month is infinitely wealthier than a family needing, say, $10,000 a month just to keep the lights on and the cars in the driveway, regardless of what's in their bank account.
Right, because they're trapped. Imagine a typical couple, right? Making really good money, maybe $120K a year, but they've got the 2 huge car payments, the constant takeout. They are literally earning money just to immediately hand it over to someone else.
Yes, let's talk about those cars for a second. This drives me crazy. The average person buys a new car every 6 years. They take out loans, pay interest, insurance. Over a 40-year period, a couple could easily blow, $600,000 just on transportation.
Wait, 600,000? Frank, that is literally the entire 500K Freedom Fund, plus another 100 grand.
Exactly. And then they sit there at the kitchen table, stressed out, complaining that they, can't afford to save for retirement or take the kids on a decent vacation.
But okay, to be fair to that couple, it's hard, Frank. Marketing is everywhere. You see the neighbor with the new SUV and you think, I work hard. My family deserves a nice, safe car. It's so easy to trick yourself.
I know. I totally get it. I mean, remember when we first got married and wanted to upgrade everything? But we have to get brutally honest about, what we actually need versus what we just think we want. Do we really need a car payment that costs more than some people's rent?
Right, or eating out 5 times a week, which, by the way, I read the other day that the average American spends over $3,000 a year just on coffee, restaurants, and convenience food. $3,000, just gone.
And here is the math on that. If you invested that same $3,000 every single year at that 8% return we just talked about, over 30 years, that daily coffee habit grows into, wait for it, over $800,000.
Shut up. 800,000. So we are literally drinking our financial immortality. We are choosing like a temporary caffeine buzz over permanent freedom.
Unconsciously choosing it, yeah. They don't even realize they're making that choice. Every time you say yes to something you don't actually need, you are stealing from your own family's future pool.
Wow. So every subscription you cancel, every time we just, decide to cook dinner at home instead of ordering takeout, we are literally buying back pieces of our future freedom. Okay, Frank, I love this. I really do. The buying back our time thing is beautiful. But I have to play devil's advocate here. Because if I'm sitting at home watching this, I'm screaming at the screen right now.
Okay, hit me. What's the catch?
The real world, Frank. What about inflation? Like a carton of eggs feels like a luxury item lately. If we only have $500K, won't our expenses just, eat up that passive income in like 10 years?
It's a completely fair question. It's the elephant in the room, but actually, it's built right into the strategy if you do it right.
Built in? How?
Remember that 8 to 9% return we talked about? Well, if you're only spending, say, 6 to 7% of your portfolio's value each year, the remaining growth, it stays in the account. It literally helps your investments keep pace with inflation.
So the principal amount, the $500K, it actually gets bigger over time?
Exactly. It gradually increases, which means your passive income gradually increases too. You're not just, maintaining your family's purchasing power, you're growing it.
Okay, but what about the other elephant, the really scary one, market crashes? What if we finally hit our $500K goal, we quit our jobs, and then the market tanks by 20%?
That is exactly why we don't put all the eggs in one basket. Diversification. We talked about a mix of stocks and bonds, right? And conservative withdrawal rates.
Right.
Look, during tough years, yes, your account balance might decrease on paper, but you're still generating income from the bonds and the dividends. You aren't forced to sell your stocks at a loss. During good years, the account grows, and that creates a buffer, a shock absorber for the family boat when the storm hits.
So it's completely different from the traditional way, where people are they're just slowly draining their savings account dry.
Exactly. Traditional retirement is terrifying. You're just slowly spending down a pile of cash, praying, literally hoping you don't run out of money before you run out of life. But when you live off the returns, market volatility becomes, well, it's annoying, but it's not terrifying.
Okay, that makes sense. And, we haven't even mentioned the government safety net.
Ah, Social Security.
Right. I mean, I know we shouldn't rely on it 100% to save us, but it's going to provide something, right? Like the average benefit for a married couple is currently around what, $3,800 a month?
Yep, close to $4,000. So imagine combining that guaranteed income with the passive income from your $500K investments. Suddenly, you aren't just scraping by. You're looking at a very, very comfortable lifestyle.
Wow. So we don't need $5 million. We really don't. We just need to stop panicking and start planning.
But the real beauty of this whole $500,000 strategy is not just about the money at all.
What do you mean?
It's about the person you become in the process. When a family is laser focused on building that 500K foundation, you naturally develop what I call, immunity to lifestyle inflation.
Oh, the upgrade disease. As soon as you get a raise, you instantly upgrade the apartment, buy a fancier car.
Exactly. You just start running faster on the exact same treadmill. But when you have this goal, every single dollar has a purpose. You aren't, depriving your family. You're just making conscious choices. You start to see right through all the marketing noise.
Yes, you stop buying things to impress people you don't even like. And, Frank, think about what that teaches our kids. They see us valuing experiences over stuff. We aren't passing down this anxious paycheck-to-paycheck panic. We're passing down a mindset of control.
Exactly. And that mindset, it's infinitely more valuable than the 500K itself. Because even if, God forbid, you lost everything, you have the financial intelligence to rebuild it. You aren't just rich on paper, you're actually wealthy.
And let's talk about the best part of being wealthy like this, the time. It's the only thing you can never, ever get back.
Yep.
Time to sit quietly without your boss emailing you on a Sunday. Time to actually be present with your kids, not just exhausted on the couch.
That is true wealth. It's having the power to say no to things that don't serve you, and yes to the things that do. It's, well, maybe you love your job and you keep working, but now you're doing it because you choose to, not because you have to.
And there is a massive difference between those two things. One leads to total burnout. The other, it leads to purpose.
So, here is our challenge to everyone watching this right now. Stop making excuses about why this won't work for your family. Stop telling yourself that $500,000 is impossible to save.
Yes, start right where you are, today. Maybe that means, I don't know, setting up an automatic transfer of $50 a month into an index fund. Maybe it means sitting down tonight with your partner and having a real, honest conversation about what your family actually needs.
The path to financial independence, it isn't complicated, but it is challenging. It requires you to act differently than the broke people around you.
But the reward? It's a life lived entirely on your own terms. Your future self is counting on the decision you make today.
If this video changed how you look at your family's finances, hit that subscribe button and join us on this journey. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.